right. Yo, yo, yo. I ran this poll. Why are you here today? Excellent financial advice, 52%. See you lose more money than me, 6%. I love that. I need a hug. It's been a long week, 42. So I think I'm going to start off with a virtual hug for everybody here. I'm sorry if you have losses. I will show you my loss for the 6% that need it. I think I'm down about 300,000 today. It might be a little bit more than that because I got a shitcoin portfolio too. So yeah, it was a decent loss. It's probably like in my top losses ever. So if that makes you feel better, here's the pain, guys. And it's been a pretty brutal one. I'm actually super optimistic though, and I'm not even worried about it. Tesla down 8.11%. We're not even done yet. We're not even closed. But let me tell you why I'm optimistic. That's probably a good place to start. And I'll let Tom Lee do it. He's pretty good at that. So, fun strat. Here's what they had to say today. They said, intraday alert, stocks down on good enough jobs report. And it is decent. There's revisions down. There's some bullshit we'll talk about. But whatever. It's not horrible, but we are seeing some weakness across a few things. And strength in others, right? The revisions were not great. They said that August jobs report came in at 142K or 142K versus street of 165. The unemployment rate fell to 4.2 from 4.3. So again, this data isn't horrible, but his thesis behind it is that this is just front loading of seasonal weakness into the election. I agree with that. I think people are really worried about the election results. They're worried about capital gains. Or unrealized capital gains getting taxed. They're worried about corporate tax going up. They're worried about just all the craziness that is Kamala Harris's policies in regard to taxes. I think that is probably the driving factor right now. As I say this, Tesla down 8.27, so we're seeing max pain into the close. I actually think lots of good support zones. I'm really excited about where we are next. But I want to flesh out Tom Lee's thoughts more. So that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to hop over. We're going to watch CNBC. We're going to get some comfort food from our man Tom Lee, and then we're going to go from there. Okay, guys? Let me just get caught up with chat too. I think that's a lot of speculation. Hello. Just another August 5th thingy. Did nothing. Peter, thank you for joining. Todd, just another buying opportunity. Agreed. Peter Gregor, you are welcome. Stefan, I'm so ready for some good copium after this week. I'll try and give it to you, bro. MB, just went long in Q. You're showing your options. Fuck this chop. Okay. Dan24 up. Ticket ELTP maybe turning the corner. We could take a look at that. Sealess, market not broadly overvalued, sentiment not giddy, BTC and Tesla undervalued, room to run. I think there's actually a lot of stuff that's undervalued. But let's get some thoughts from Tom Lee and see what he can tell us. One sec here.
To our talk of the tape, the road ahead for stocks. Definitely gotten bumpier. The question now is, are there too many potholes to get around? Let's ask Tom Lee. He's managing partner, head of research at Fundstrat. Also a CNBC contributor and also here live at Post 9. Welcome back.
Great to see you, Scott.
What's going on here, Tom?
Well, it's been a rough week. I mean, this September first 4 days were down 4%. It's actually one of the fifth worst Septembers since 1928, so it's pretty bad.
And he called it.
I don't think there's actually a lot of fundamental arguments for why stocks are down this much, but I think we've pulled forward seasonality. This September to November period last year was really tough. Historically, it's tough, and I wonder if markets are going risk off early.
So you believe in the soft landing story. You said there's no fundamental reason for this. This is a debate over soft landing versus something worse. Market seems to be tilting towards something worse. You say no.
Yeah, the reason I don't think it's something worse, and we don't know, is that the jobs added was better than July. Remember, July was the hard landing fears because it was such a weak number, and in fact, the number of industries adding jobs jumped to 53%. That's the best in 6 months, and the unemployment rate fell. So I think we're at a point where the Fed could engineer a soft landing, and that's why 2 weeks from now it's going to be important.
50, 25, does it matter to you?
Just to interject, we're also at a point where in an election cycle, both candidates are promising shit tons of benefits and spending from the government. So that will have liquidity impacts into next year. So there's positive stuff coming. It's just, again, what the policies do to our economy over the long term and whether or not the market goes up because somebody gets elected or it goes down, which I think, depending on who you're voting for, you're going to see one of those or the other.
I think it's going to be how the market interprets either number, because there can be such thing as a dovish 50 or a hawkish 50 or a panicked 50, even a hawkish 25. So I think the reality is the Fed is on a cutting cycle. That's really a good catalyst for rotation. Interest rates are going to fall, and it's going to help industries like housing, autos, credit cards come out of this recession. So I think it's good news when they start.
To be clear, I've been saying that for a long time. Housing, auto, all that stuff is going to benefit.
Start cutting.
Okay. What's happening in tech? We said that the NASDAQ's down more than 5% this week.
Also, small businesses that have debt that they need to rotate over will benefit from rates coming down, especially if they've already been paying higher levels for their debt.
We're having the worst week in about 18 months, and the tech sector itself is off more than 7 on the week. What's going on with that trade?
Tech, I think, revealed its hand last week because NVIDIA had a good number, but it fell. So when stocks fall on good news, it's either a crowded trade or something bad could be coming. And then, of course, they've led the downside this week. I think it is part of this pull forward the seasonality because people want to de-risk, and tech is a big holding. But I think on the margin, there could also be a political aspect to this. Trump's probability of winning actually increased this week in the betting markets and in the polls. And I know investors think he'll be tough on China, which would be bad for semis. So I think part of this could be fears that a Trump gaining is bad for semis.
What if there's just...
I don't know if I agree with all of that, but let's keep going.
Too much priced into these stocks at this point. Valuations have gotten a little too rich, even if they're the greatest stocks in the world, which you've made the argument that, in fact, they are, that this is the place you want to be maybe more than any other. And what if that's true and the multiples still don't make sense?
I think it's possible. In NVIDIA's last 10 years of history, there have been 30% drawdowns, almost 8 times of similar magnitude. Its PE, NVIDIA's forward PE, was actually higher at the bottom of those drawdowns. Right now, NVIDIA's forward PE is in the mid-20s. So to me, this looks like a normal profit taking. Maybe it takes NVIDIA down to the 90s, but I think 2 years from now, that's really going to be a gift.
So when you look at all of these, are you a buyer on the dip? Are you urging people who read your research and listen to you here and elsewhere to do that?
We're close to that point because let's say we thought that there would be a 7 to 10%, the risk of a 7 to 10% drawdown between now and November. We're almost down 5% now. I think we're...
Yeah, so what he's telling you right now is that, hey, we warned you that September was going to be rough. We were worried about a 7% or 10% drawdown. We're already halfway there.
Next week, we could be within that point of where we pulled forward that entire correction into the month of September. So I think we're close to the point where, I wouldn't be a seller here, and I think the lower range of the S&P's 5,400, 5,350, we're almost there now.
You think the move from August 5th to, let's say, September 5th was justified? Was it too much? Was it built on reality? What do you think?
It's hard to know. I know that there was panic that caused that 3-day drawdown, and the VIX spiked to 66, so we know that there was panic. But we also...
Together pretty well. We are in a little bit of a vacuum. No Fed speak next week.
No. You son of a bitch. Now I gotta find that fucking thing. Ugh. All right, I'll do that later. What bullshit. It just jumped. It's YouTube TV, and it just jumped over, and then I lost that part of the segment. So I'll see if I can find it. Also, people were talking about revisions in jobs numbers. It's right here. Here's the revised number. So if you look at the last 4 months of initial job reports, at least initial jobs, versus the revised numbers, you can see April was initially 165, then it was 108, it was 272, then it was 218, it was 179, then it was 118. So the numbers are getting revised down for the initial job report. So we are seeing things going down further. All right, so let's do this. Before I get into all this other stuff, and there's a lot to get into today, let's just look at the broader market and see what the damage looks like. So again, pretty red. NVIDIA getting smoked again. Google, a lot of big tech getting hit really hard today. AV Go down 10%. Tesla down 8.45. Just everything getting smoked. Let's look at crypto. Crypto did not do much better. Ethereum down 6.21. Solana getting a little bouncy, negative 3.21. Bitcoin down 4.52. But still pretty rough. I've all but given up on Ethereum. And I still own a lot of this. And it's a play I want to have turn out because I've got hundreds of thousands of dollars in it. But not Ethereum, but just like shit coins in general, including some of it. But I don't know if it's going to. We'll see. Maybe it's not the returns I was hoping for. All right, so here's one argument I want to make. And I kind of drew this heart line the other day, and it's kind of playing out like one. It's probably closer to the actual moving average, though. That's probably a more accurate reflection if we just do this. Because you could see, again, where, well, maybe if I do this, let's just do this. Yeah, so we have very close to support right over here, resistance, breaking through, turning into support, coming back over here, falling underneath, coming back up, trying to find support. I think this is where we're going to find support. I don't even know if we go down much further next week, but we could. We always can. That's the thing. Everything is probabilities. Stuff can happen. Now, could this be a double top? Theoretically, this one could. Very close. Very close. Could it be a double top? Maybe. I don't see it. I don't see it because I still think that the market can do really well depending upon who gets elected. I think that's going to play such a pivotal role that we haven't seen historically in recent elections. That, I mean, going back 50 years. Just because of the stark difference. There's a big difference when you're leaning towards communism, or whether you're going to be very capitalistic, lowering tax rates, pro-growth, low energy costs. Like, these are just very different policy stances and platforms. Now, here's what I wanted to say about this. The NASDAQ, though, does not look like a double top. You could say it was like an ascending triangle or something, but it already broke down really hard. Now, could it be a left shoulder, a head, a right shoulder? Sure. But if this starts to stop right here on the daily time frame, and we find support either at the .618 where we have tons of volume, or down by the 200, and we bounce off of that, which is what I think we're going to do, then we're just in a trading range, and we're going to be like this. We're going to be like this, and then we're going to be looking to break out of it. And then we'll do that, and we'll go higher. And I'm very much in the Tom Lee camp that we're going to see auto, we're going to see real estate, we're going to see small caps doing better heading into the last part of this year. And again, statistics told us, I ignored them, but that September is brutal, and it's turned out that way. Russell, again, getting slammed. Down 2%. And what do we have? I didn't even do the comparison. Negative 2.69 for the NASDAQ, probably a ton of that in chips and big tech. 1.73 in SPX, or the S&P, and then 1.91. So small caps didn't actually get to hit that hard. They held up pretty good. And again, we're kind of finding a support area. Really, outside of this, it's going to be at the 2039 level. Can we go down to this level? Can we drop down on the NASDAQ over to the 200 moving average, or even peak volumes that go back a year plus? We totally could. And if either one of those things happen, we have a good bounce point that can still occur on all of these. And I do think that's going to happen, whether it's another 5% down and we've already done half the drop for the month, like Tom Lee's talking about, or not. I don't think it really matters. The dollar. Today, the dollar gained strength, got a little bouncy. It looks like we are back above our trend line of support here, so maybe we're trying to find a bottom on it. Gold is down 0.84% today. Didn't work as much of a hedge, but that's the way it works when people jump towards liquidity. So up less than 30% in 13 years. Oil continues to drop. This, I definitely, in regard to Tom Lee's comments, I think this is because of the potential of Trump winning. And I think the closer that we get towards Trump winning, the more we're going to see this. Now, his conversation about chips, I've got to think about that more. You guys let me know what you think about it. But I don't know if I totally agree with chip sector dropping hard because of Trump coming in and his thoughts on China. I think we're already pretty tough on China, and again, we could crack down more, but I don't know that that's going to be something. I don't know if that's a strong narrative or if it even makes sense. If you guys disagree, let me know. But again, oil, I think oil can keep dropping. When it gets underneath 65 is when it gets fun, because then I think we do a cascade down to like the upper 50s very quickly. And if that happens, you're going to start seeing gas get cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. Where I live, it's under $3 right now. You could see it getting into the lower twos. If we keep seeing oil dropping like this, it will bring down prices across the entire energy sector. And if we let's just look at commodities today. I don't normally do too much of this, but we're talking about how hard they've been dropping, and it is very apparent. If you look here and sort by this, look at lithium. Lithium year over year is down 63%. Look at this number. Look at this number. Watch this. Look at what lithium did. Lithium carbonate per Chinese yuan for each ton was in the 60,000s, or I'm sorry, the 600,000 range. It's 7,500 or 75,000 now. So it went up. It just dropped precipitously, and you can see how there's a lack of demand for batteries. There's just a huge lack of demand. But if we look over here, let's just go up higher. Let's look at just the regular energy sector. Gasoline down 20% for the month. Heating oil down almost 10. Crude oil down 9.31. Brent down 8.74. UK gas down 8%. I mean, this is going to help. I think Trump's already bringing down gas and oil prices and energy prices by just him having a higher probability of winning the election. And if you guys don't understand that he has a higher probability and you're looking at like polls that are showing Kamala Harris winning, just watch my political videos and where I go through some of the polling related data and why and what's actually happening with the election. So check that out. Gold, silver down 3.2%. Ouch. For silver, that's a heck of a move. Let's see here. Orange juice down 12% today. That is just nuts. So we're definitely seeing some of these peaks and a lot of commodities starting to roll over. I'm sure cocoa actually went up 12%. Wow. That's impressive. But again, just across the board, look at the industrial sector, palladium, just a lot of things starting to drop. And that's just going to continue. Oh, they've got containerized freight index in here. That's cool. That's new. I haven't seen this before. So this just shows, you know how we talked before about freight shipping costs were high? We're starting to see them come down, guys. So again, we had this massive thing like after the pandemic, right? Where freight costs were just through the roof because we were buying so much from China. Well, now we're starting to see this slowing down. Does this mean the economy's slowing down? It could. It totally could. Let me see here. I'm going to get caught up with chat real quick. I don't want to get too far behind. Todd, which job figures? Oh, we already talked about that. Revised. C-list. No, the semis will be used to manufacture elsewhere if the PRC is not kosher. And again, so much of the advanced chips that we buy come from Taiwan. It's not like 93% of advanced chips come from Taiwan. And we're working to already try and change that supply chain under the Biden administration to the United States and get more done here. I don't know how well Intel's doing, even though they're getting billions of dollars from the government. But we're trying, and we've got other companies. Again, Taiwan Semiconductor, there's a bunch of companies building here. Maybe just not quick enough, but I think Trump can help with that. Amit, Jesse, would you consider NVIDIA leaps if we continue dropping? I said no, and the reason I would say no is I think I see a lot of eyes on NVIDIA. And so I don't want to touch anything that has that much interest. I really don't. It's just too much for me. And I don't like doing short trading. There's too many people placing bets. I like things that are kind of unfound and that nobody has interest in, and then I get into them, but I also haven't looked directly at them. So maybe they're okay. I might do an options video. Maybe I'll do it over a weekend or something. This weekend's Bitcoin, Bitcoin mining, but maybe I'll do an options or a video where we can talk about stocks and look up the option contracts too and see if we find anything interesting. Maybe that would be helpful. David, hey Jesse, thanks for what you're doing. You're welcome. Sealess, Southeast Asia is the future. The PRC is the past again for a generation at least. I actually think other parts of Asia, yes, are going to do really good. I think India is doing really good too. Everybody likes to discount it, but I think it's going to continue to grow. And get stronger and take more from. And I think most of Central America and now South America with Argentina getting on board, we could start to see some major shifts in where we get goods towards countries that are more friendly to the United States. I think that's a given. Daniel Stocks, PayPal, I'll look at it. Sealess, I'm down 12% in stock account today. Nice, dude. Congrats. Alex Garcia, I'm down 10.7. Those are rookie numbers, Alex. You got to work harder. You got to get that 12%, bro. Sealess, Alex, I'm not bothered. Wish I can cash out some in July since I'm down 50% now, but hey, MicroStrategy causes big swings. Yeah, it sucks. Every time you don't take profits, you kick yourself, right? But then you're like, at the time, you're like, oh, wait, if I don't do this, it's probably still going to go up. And why am I leaving money on the table? But it's always smart to take profits. MB, silver will be crushed soon as well. I agree. Silas, were so wrong about lithium being the massive bottleneck to EVs. Well, no, see, they were right at the time based on projections, and a lot of that conversation came from Elon Musk. But here's the thing: if the other EV makers in the United States aren't going to build the fucking EVs because nobody wants them, then the projections all change. And in China, there were 500 fucking EV makers. Is that not insane? 500. So you can expect that a lot of these fail, and then you have less demand while you're trying to sell out to the entire market. Plus, you have a glut. I've been saying this forever, but the used auto market is a disaster. There are cars everywhere. So if people want to stick with ICE, they have an opportunity to do it by buying a cheap used car that nobody can fucking sell. And those prices are just going to keep coming down. It will create downward pressure on the auto market, which is why if you believe in Tesla, you have to believe in autonomy. You have to believe in AI, full self-driving, robotics. You got to believe in all the stuff that's in energy, all the stuff that's coming and that's actively happening right now. Because just the EV industry, yeah, you're going to get fucked. And that's why I started to get into lithium, and I made a little bit of money on it, and then I gave the fuck up because I realized there's too many companies that are trying to mine lithium right now, and I was worried about demand, so I got the fuck out. Alex, Silas, I'm also about 40% down from my portfolio high in July. Yeah, I'm probably like 35. Shit, I might be over 35. I might be closer to you now, Alex. Allocated to Bitcoin related BTC, CLSK, MicroStrategy. See, I've got so many calls too. That's going to cause downside pain. JJ, Tom Lee's video is up on YouTube if you want to finish it. Oh, okay, cool. Alex, Jesse, what are your thoughts on the housing market right now as we approach rate cuts? I think it's going to open up. I'm in the Midwest trying to decide if this is a good time to buy. No, I wouldn't buy it. No. No, I think the prices. So as the rates start to come down, the market will open up in spring. Not a lot of houses get sold over the winter, anyways. So it's going to be springtime where the market starts to open up, and maybe late spring into summer, you could potentially start to see a lot of houses going on the market where people are like, hey, should I lock in and sell right now so I can get all that equity that I had before prices start coming down? Because it looks like prices have dropped a couple percent in the last month or last several months, and I want to get that money. And so you could see a rush of people adding homes to the market. That's what I believe is going to happen. And again, if that happens, you're going to see a rush of prices going lower and lower. I think you have time to think about buying a house, is what I'm saying. I wouldn't even start until late spring, personally, if that makes sense. I'm down 20% on port. On port. Is that a stock? Is that today? Is that for the portfolio for the year? What are we talking about, Andrew? Silas, Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia are all doing well in electronics. India is trying, but very bureaucratic and protectionist. Yeah, they are, but they are opening up, and they're basically just trying to make it to where they work better with international companies and business, and they're doing that, right? Like they've got the Apple plant there where they're going to be building the new iPhone. There's a lot of stuff going into India that I don't think people realize, and it's a cheap country. It's definitely one where you can get rich, and people love getting rich. Investing in emerging markets that stand high probabilities of going up. But I think it's going to be split, man. I think it's Southeast Asia, it's going to be India, and it's going to be Central America and maybe South America with Argentina, where you're going to start to see just a lot of change in the years ahead. Andrea, are we still a non-uninverted? Great question, bro. Let's take a look. We are back up. We broke it. So I don't know if anybody's talking about it yet. Should we post that? Maybe we should post that. You know what? I'll do it real quick. I'm just going to do it super fast. Might as well tell people the news. Somebody will figure it out eventually. But let's tell them. Sorry about that. All right, there we go. We posted something. Good job, guys. Good job, team. All right, let me get back into chat. And let's roll through the rest here, actually, while we're looking at that. So the uninversion has happened. We are done there. Let's go over to... But what's bond volatility look like right now? Bond volatility, hey, not bad. Flat again. Hasn't really done much. 2-year, again, has started to roll over. It looks like it got a little bit of a bounce. And our inversion uninverted. How's the Cybertruck? I love it so much. I've actually got to take it into the shop. I still got to fix that plate. They didn't get it fixed last time because the part wasn't in. They did other stuff, and I've got a couple of recalls for them to fix. Yeah, and then I cracked the front window too. That is not cheap, but yeah. But I love it. I fucking love it so much. It's my favorite thing ever. All right. Do you think Coinbase is in the buy zone? We'll take a look. Andrew, port is portfolio, lol. Yeah, okay. Alberto, keep up the content. Great content, man, especially on bad days. The transparency is amazing. Love you, bro. No problem. Hey, man, if I'm not going to be here, if I'm going to be around on the good days to show you how much money I'm making, and I'm not going to be around for the bad days, it kind of makes me into an asshole, right? So I got to be here for all of it. Otherwise, why would you trust me? I wouldn't trust me. James, no, Alex Garcia, what does this mean? What does this mean? I don't even know what we're talking about anymore. Silas, Jesse, the first Apple plants opening in India had major issues and stoppages. The subcontractors stole the wages for a while. The government didn't respond effectively, but they'll change or lose. Yeah, I think they'll change. I actually have a lot of conviction over Modi, and I know they have their problems. They definitely do. There's a lot of like, they have a problem kind of like with states in that country, and they're all so different. And then politically, there's so many hurdles. There's just a lot going on in India, but I think that they can get past it. And again, and if they don't, it doesn't matter, right? Because they'll benefit, but then it'll just go to Central and South America, or it'll go more to Southeast Asia. But the whole point is China loses, and while they lose, all of these others benefit. That's my thesis, and that's been my thesis for over a year and a half, 2 years right now. Anthony, can we invert the uninvert? Sure. Shale, CLSK done selling off yet? I think it's getting close. Silas, after that will become harder to develop their countries. What do you mean after they start to develop and turn into like little Chinas? It'll be harder to develop, or what do you mean, Silas? Daniel Stocks, do you think stock trader Max will go green on CleanSpark? Oh, that's one of the people on X, right? Is that what you're talking about? What's stock trader Max? Tell me, Daniel. All right, let's keep going. Let's move. So insurance. We saw people buying insurance. Are they still buying insurance? Oh yeah, they're jumping in. The insurance boat has arrived, guys. And not just that. Let's look at something else. Let's look at how much the VIX jumped. So I have an argument actually about what's happening right now. And I do think some of it actually ties in with liquidity being lowered recently. But I also think some of it is just oscillation, or at least that's the argument I'm trying to make. So this chart goes back to 1990. This is 35 years of stock volatility being tracked. And the point I wanted to make is this impulse that we had here that went all the fucking way up, all the fucking way down. That month was the highest jump and drop in the history. It was the largest VIX crush, which just means the VIX falling out. And it was the fastest spike too in history of the volatility index. So I don't think it's crazy. Somebody asked if they should buy a hedging thing for a VIX. I said no, and the reason I said no is because this right now makes sense. It makes sense that after just this wicked impulse up and down, that we will oscillate just like this, where we're starting to bounce, and then maybe we come back down again, and then maybe we go up a little bit. We seeing volatility from this is a perfectly normal thing. Is all I want to say. What else we got? TMF is up 6% today. Wish I owned some. You kind of betrayed your inner monk by not adding TMF. I did add. You know what? Shit, I probably own TMF. I probably have some, actually. Yeah, motherfucker. Fuck you. I got some right here. I got a little bit. Got 10 grand worth. I should probably spend it. Should buy something with it, right? But hey, I got a little bit. That was my point. His average is like 16, so yes. Average for what? Daniel Stocks, yes, X, Shale, Sealess, you should pay India a visit to see development firsthand. Long way to go. Things are changing for the better, and you can't ignore that. Are you in India, Shale? MB, because that's good. That helps. It's nice to know where people are because it gives me an idea of like, because again, somebody in India, I'm gonna trust their knowledge. Oh, okay, are you Indian or do you know India really well? I'm just curious. Like how, like just to get an idea of like where people's knowledge is. Sheila agreed. It's hard to pick up stocks from India. They all seem overpriced. Yeah, no, I agree with that too, MB. Carl, is this fall prior to next week's debate, Trump versus Harris? Maybe. I think it's a lot of things. I think it's like Tom Lee said. I think we've got worries about the election. He said we were going to get a drop in September. We know that the data says that we're going to get a drop in September. The data actually said, though, that the drop would come in late September. That's what if we go back historically and average out, we see, right? We see the drop in the latter part of September. So maybe it makes sense that it just gets crushed a little bit earlier in the month with just all the craziness and difference between the two different electoral candidates and just everything that's going on. And that could totally make sense. Dallas, yes, from India. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So you have experienced. I totally can get that. I see, I follow India pretty decently. There's a couple of YouTubers I watch, and so I get to see kind of from a business climate what they're talking about and how it's developing. So I do agree with what you're saying, Shell. I think the truth is probably between you and Sealess, somewhere in the middle. Frog Dog, MP up 1.61% today. Nice. It's glad to see something up. Sealess Jesse, it's usually with YouTube censorship bots removing one key comment. I said automation would take over soon in the West. Developing nations have a time limit in which to use human manufacturing. No, that's super true. You're getting kind of deep. But yeah, dude, I get it. And I think it's happening way quicker than a lot of people expect. So I do agree with that. Yeah, that's a very valid point. But I think though, if you're a democracy and you're embracing capitalism, I think your ability to advance with robotics, especially if people are kind of walking away from China, it might be harder for them to steal trade secrets. It might be hard for China to advance. It's going to be hard for Russia to advance unless they're friends with the West. I think the West is actually getting ready to have like kind of a golden period of revival. That's my take. Because I think automation and robotics we're gonna be leading benefactors of that. We probably feel the same way about it, I'm guessing. Stefan, Jesse, how was it during your last Bitcoin cycle? Did people also lose? Oh, dude, it's every cycle. That happened in 2018 and 19. It was pretty brutal. It happened this last cycle with 2021, 2022. It's every cycle, dude. It's always that way. It's human nature. It's human nature to be frightened. And when there's a bunch of people like little fucking lemmings feeding off of each other going, oh my God, I'm scared. Oh my God, I'm leaving. Wait, Bob left? Bob had such high conviction. Or let's say Caleb Franzen. He said he's negative on Bitcoin now. And these people have been talking about this for 2 years and telling you how they're going to make so much money and everything that's good that's going to happen. And when they roll over, people roll with them. It's just human psychology. It's how it works. I wish I could fix this for people. I wish I could tell you some secret to make it to where you could be like this. You could lose $300,000 in a day and you're just hanging out with a crew of people talking about some shit, drinking out of your mug, and you don't even give a fuck. And that's a decent amount of my overall net worth. It's not an inconsequential amount. But you just live and learn, man. It takes time. It takes time. Doesn't happen overnight. Lagola 87. Thank you for joining, man. Appreciate that. All right, let me see here. Kamlesh is for India. I have INDL in my Roth IRA account. What does that cover, Kamlesh? Like, what is INDL? Just like a broad, like S&P type thing, or what is it? Sealess, I know Shale. I was contrasting India with other Asian nations. Do you have any specific insights? Yeah, it's hard to compare all these. They're so different from each other. Like even Central and South America is so different from India. Is so different from Southeast Asia. They're very different. And you're probably right. out of the three, I would say the advantage goes to Southeast Asia because you still have countries that are pretty poor, but the education is good and they've got factories that are already there and they're just further along the developmental cycle of first world nation kind of stuff, right? If I'm saying that right, does that make sense? MB, I literally purchased ETH at 200 when people were shilling it to me a month earlier. 600 sold the bottom. Yeah, that happens. Camlish, ETF for India I have is INDA NFT. Yeah, I've seen both of those. Wesley Cowman, ride or die. Yes, sir. SK, hey, Jesse, do you think we may or may not be a bull run like prior cycles since Wall Street is now involved with Bitcoin? No, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I've said this a few times. People think that you can just manipulate Bitcoin now because Wall Street is in it. But Wall Street, if you look at Wall Street has about like 4%, 5% maybe of Bitcoin. So they can create some downward pressure if they want to. They could coordinate some of that. Sure, that's possible, but only for periods of time. Because unlike the gold market, we don't just have a bunch of like, there's two things. One, gold is supply and demand driven. Miners can increase the amount of gold that comes out of the ground if the price is high, and they do, right? So then that pulls down the price. You also have governments, and you have like JP Morgan, who is guilty of trying to do price suppression on the gold markets by using a bunch of paper trading, by doing things like sell walls that they put in front of things, like doing things to try and drive down the price from technical levels. It's just really fucked up shit, right? So they could get away with that in the gold world. They can't do that with Bitcoin. You can't expand the supply any quicker. When miners buy more fucking miners, you know what happens? The difficulty increases. When the difficulty increases, the pay goes down. So they're competing against each other to have the largest market share so that they can be dominant players like CleanSpark, and that's a good thing for them. But they don't get more fucking Bitcoin when the price goes up a bunch. It just benefits them because the price goes up a bunch. And they can't all of a sudden turn on twice as many miners and get twice as much Bitcoin. It doesn't fucking work that way. It's the same distribution. And that distribution drops by 50%. The inflation rate of Bitcoin drops by 50% every cycle. So it's just not that alone isn't comparable to gold and makes it better. But then at the same time, you can't do the things that you did with the gold markets with Bitcoin. You simply can't do it. There's no way. I'm trying to figure out my thought here. You have a pseudo-anonymous network that is on a public ledger, and then there's companies like Chain Analysis that and many others. And Chain Analysis has done work for the government. They help the feds because they know who people are that in their wallets, right? So there's enough analysis tools out there with these public ledgers to figure out who has what wallet, and you can't do things where you just dump into the market because this is all auditable. You can't just paper trade shit. You could do some basic things like that sell wall type stuff. You could do things to try and manipulate the price for periods of time, but eventually you run out of the ability to push the price down through selling or any of these other tricks of the trade. So, and then when that happens, what's going to happen to the price? It's going to fucking go up. The math on Bitcoin is like one of the most pure investment things you can possibly deal with. It's on a network that is immutable, has never been altered in its entire fucking existence. You already have that going for you. And then it's transferable. It can go anywhere in the world. And people have moved over $1 billion for less than 5. Try doing that with a fucking bank. You cannot do that. Bitcoin is just, it's so by far the best investment a person could have right now, in my opinion, as a non-financial advisor and somebody who's made a shit ton of money off of it and gets to sit here now as a multimillionaire losing $300,000 in a day and not giving a fuck. So if you want to be something like that, learn these things. It will help you a lot. But it's not like the gold market. Are there ways that you can manipulate Bitcoin price action? And have they been active? Has BlackRock been doing it? Wouldn't fucking doubt it. But they can't do it forever. And the technicals will pull higher. And the money printer is still going burr. So just think about this stuff, man. It's very important. Anthony, what does the 2 10-year bond inversion mean short term by end of year? Not much. So historically, it's led to bear markets. Does it lead to a bear market right away? No, it could take 6 months. Does it have to be a bear market? No. Even the person who created the whole inverted 10-year, 2-year, said he thinks this time might be different. He's changed his mind a few times. I think the last time I heard from him, it was this time might be different. So I don't even know if it means anything, but it's an event, and it's something that you got to put out into the ether. Somebody will eventually, once they look at it over the weekend. Cam Lish, INDL is 2x leveraged for India ETF, which occurs their top 50 index. So yeah, that 2x leverage might be a little rough because that thing's already climbed a lot, right? But interesting, very cool. What is the actual index for the India ETF? Like, what is that? The non-levered. Stefan, MB, yeah, I think also depends on what your cost basis is for any investment, not only crypto. Ligola, well, the 2-year yield just shot above the 10-year yield. Looks like it will stay that way now. Crash coming. It doesn't have to. It could drop literally next week. And it doesn't mean crash right away. It doesn't. Celis, Jesse, Asian means Southeast Asia, not Asian. It's a shorthand for... No, I know. Yeah, we're on the same page. Like, you're including Indonesia and everything else. I get it. Myanmar's kind of a shit show. I actually pay a lot of attention to like every country in the world that is, diplomatically or economically involved kind of in the macro. MB, Stefan, with crypto you can buy fractions of coins, not sure cost basis is a limiting factor. Yeah, you can, it's fractions. There's like you go to the 8th decimal of Bitcoin and you got a Satoshi. I'm not sure what else you guys are trying to talk about there. 2 a.m. Do you all think Anthony Noto will be able to achieve his bonus of 25 and 35 and 45? What was the timeline? By 2026. 25, yes. 35, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. It depends. This election is huge. Let's get past that, then we can reevaluate. Disease Kodak. Wish I had more free cash for CleanSpark options today. Yeah, I hear you. I think I bought 20,000 worth, and I did post about it. I'll see if I can find it. Let's see here. Stefan, I see that the CleanSpark on Twitter, people that bought in 17 are crying while people who bought last year at $3 enjoyed it a huge multiple. Yeah, CleanSpark was in the dollars, man. That's where I bought my calls. It was like $1.80 or 90 or something, I want to say. Ligola, Bitcoin market cap equals gold bullion market cap in the future. I'm not sure about using this as a hypothesis. It'll be larger. It'll be much larger than gold. It'll be much larger than gold because right now we store wealth in things like real estate. We store wealth in things like stocks. We store wealth in things called bonds. We store wealth in commodities like gold. So we store wealth in all different, and we store wealth in all versions of debt. Again, like the bond market, right, where something is both a positive on your balance sheet and also a negative, and the money printer go burr. Like the world is a weird place. It's a very weird place. I'm trying to remember where my thought was going on that one. Maybe I'll get it back. Maybe it'll come back. All right, let's see what else. I want to make sure I'm not missing any comments. Ooh, the halving should have been a Magic the Gathering card. Yeah, that sounds cool. Stefan, MB, I meant more like your attitude changes depending upon if you bought Bitcoin at 20 or 70. Totally, dude. Totally. That makes a difference too. And again, it's the experience of that as well. It's not just the fact that you've made money off of it. It's the experience of going through it, of dealing with the pain and suffering, and then seeing the reward at the end that also psychologically is very, very beneficial to you. I see that Stefan also said, I see that CleanSpark on Twitter. Yeah. Okay, so that's that comment. Bitcoin market cap equals gold. Oh yeah, so this is the one. So maybe I'll get my thought back here. Ligola said Bitcoin market cap equals gold bullion market cap in the future. I'm not sure about using this as a hypothesis. Oh yeah, I was just talking about all the things that we store wealth in right now, and the fact that housing is unaffordable. It doesn't have to be unaffordable, guys. The reason it is unaffordable is because people use it as a store of value. Why did they do that? Because the prices go up, money printer goes burr. We didn't have a Bitcoin before. It wasn't easily transferable. Like, this is a thing to do. But every cycle that goes by that people make money off of Bitcoin, they will pull value away from real estate, away from the bond market, away from everything else, and it will go to Bitcoin because it is a better store of value. And in every way, You guys have to look up the Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean Ammous. Get an Audible. Read the fucking thing. Whatever way you digest information, you need to understand money, and you need to understand why money has changed so many times throughout humanity, and why it's going to Bitcoin. It's very important that you understand this in your thesis. If you don't have it, you're only looking at like part of the information and not necessarily reality. And I think that's important. Our goal should always be to try and determine what reality is. And I'm getting pretty deep down the comments thing here. So I should get back to work. Let me get back to work. Let's see. What else do we want to look at? I'm going to go to Bitcoin. Oh, I'm going to put it on the right screen. And then we can get deeper down the rabbit hole too. So here's where we are in Bitcoin. And hey, I'll say this. I was actually hoping that Tesla and PayPal would be up and that it would be the Bitcoin and crypto markets that took a shit. But I did call the Bitcoin market taking a shit. So I got that under my belt. I just didn't think the other stuff was going with it. But it is happening. We're stopped at the 50 right now. What'll be interesting is to see if we can bounce here or if we can hold the support for this downward trend that we have, on the weekly time frame going all the way across. Because we've been trading this way since March of 2024. That is a long fucking time. It's almost 6 months now of sideways to down. And that is painful. I've done it for years, though. So I'm going to say, guys, I might think you need to like man up a little bit. If you can't handle this shit and you've been dealing with it for 6 months, you got to be ready to do this kind of thing for sometimes years with your investments. So you better get tough here, guys. You better get real tough. But I think that we're finding a bottom. Could it go down to 48 or something crazy? 47 down here to the fib? Sure. Do I think it's going lower than that? Do I think it's going to 40K just because people magically fucking say 40K now? No. Does it mean it won't happen? It can totally happen. There's maybe a 1% probability. Maybe it's 2% that it'll get down to here. I don't fucking know. You can never be perfect on price, guys, on investments. You can never. There's too many variables between the macro, the fundamentals, the financials, and the technicals to be right all the fucking time on price action. This is another thing that I use days like today to teach people because I think it's super important. People will be like, well, God, fuck, can't listen to micro anymore. He said it was going to 46 or 47 at the lowest, and it went all the way down to 40 and even got to 39. Oh my God, it did that for a whole like 20 fucking minutes. He was wrong for 20 fucking minutes. Who gives a shit? It's 20 fucking minutes. It's 20 fucking minutes. Like, you got to look at things this way. You got to look at them as probabilities, and you have to look at them logically and be like, oh, yeah, well, he was wrong. It dropped a decent amount more, but it did it for fucking 20 minutes. So would you have gotten that? Would you have been too busy at work? I mean, who fucking cares? This is the kind of stuff you need to realize. You can always be over or under more than you think. This is how things work. Please understand these concepts. And if we bounce here, if we bounce at 51, 52, be happy about it and realize that these technicals are right a lot more than they're wrong, especially over longer time frames like the weekly. Anyway, moving on. Let's look at the rest of the Bitcoin stuff. MicroStrategy. Let's roll through these quick. I'm getting very chatty today for a Friday. So down 4.41, still dropping into the after hours, whatever. Doesn't fucking matter. I would actually say that MicroStrategy has held up really well considering. And again, could it go down here to 103, 104? Sure. Mara, 3.4%. Isn't this kind of good? I mean, Bitcoin dropped pretty hard today, 4.81% in the last 24 hours. And this arguably might have found support. And it's up 0.22% in after hours. So, I mean, really, it kind of did. This doesn't seem like a massive drop. You know what I would say? I would say that right now, I think that Bitcoin miners are getting ready to outperform the underlying asset. So, like, what I mean by that is that if the Bitcoin miners don't drop or up 1% on the day and Bitcoin's down like 1%, you know you're at the fucking bottom. 95% probability. That's not an official number, but it's just my rough estimate based upon my experiences for the last several cycles, okay? This is my third one getting ready to make money on, right? So yeah, I don't know. I think these are starting to get ready to outperform, but let's look at CleanSpark, the one everybody loves to hate. And again, like all the fears, Totally get it. Totally get it. Maybe we drop down to the .382 or right around the 770 mark or something, or right here at the 740. This is a nice clean move for CleanSpark to just be done dropping. What is it down right now? 67%. Definitely brutalized. Not a good what was the peak on that again? March. So less than 6 months to lose 67% of your money. And if you had options, again, I've only recently started buying into the options. I had stock before that, and I've been buying the dip on the way down and DCAing with the money that I was making off of Tesla and other stuff. But yeah, if you just ate this, if you had options up here, fuck, that hurts, dude. I get it. That kind of psychological pain is not easily overcame, even with experience. So I get that. I can get the pain. It's hard to buy into this stuff, man. You got to have some hair in your chest and really big balls, I think. And I got both of those. All right. Cypher down 6.5%. It's the small cap, so it kind of makes sense that, again, so Mara down like 3-ish, CleanSpark down in the 5s, and then Cypher down 6.5. Kind of makes sense, right? Cypher is going to be the one where you can make the most potential for upside because it's a smaller cap, and then CleanSpark's in the middle, Mara's at the top. It's just how this stuff works. So again, nothing crazy here. This is a good spot for support, all the way down to like 227. I wouldn't see us going any lower than that. All right, let's look at other stuff real quick. We got news to talk about too. There's a lot going on again today, guys, a lot. And thank you for being here on a Friday. I think people are just probably using me to blow off steam and hopefully not have a depressing weekend. I think that's what I'm for. And if that's all I'm for today, that is legit. I get it. And I will try and fulfill that need as much as I can. So Tesla down 50% off its high again. Brutal day for Tesla, 8.45%. But here's what I got to say, guys. Here's what I'm going to say, and you're probably not going to like hearing it, but I think you'll like it next week, and I will sure as fuck be like, I told you so. I will, promise that. But I think we're grinding under the 50 and the 100 on the weekly time frame, and we're in between that and the 200. We got up to the 200. We rejected off of it. It was painful as fuck, but I think coming into next week, we find support here. We know the first 2 days of next week are not going to have a lot of economic data. I say we find support around here. Can we go underneath of it for 20 minutes? Fuck yeah. I don't care. But I think we find support into this, and then I think we start testing back up again. I think that's the path that we're going to make. And again, Tom Lee already said, I think we've already had at least 50 to 75% of the pain that we thought we were going to have, we've already had. Maybe we have a little bit going into Monday, and then we bounce. That seems like the right Monday to me. Is more pain in the morning and then bounce into it. So that's a good time to DCA. Maybe I'll apply some of that TMF to whatever around that time and see what else I can sell that I could put into the things that are a multiplier to the upside. But I think Tesla's looking good. That's my take, bro. Spread the word. PayPal down 4.36%. I bought some of this today too. I really got to show you the portfolio part, and we'll try and find Tom Lee's thing. We did drop for PayPal right down to the fib. Isn't it perfect? So there's some people that don't believe in this stuff, right? But here's what I want to show you. Let's just look at this. Without me having changed this shit at all, let's just look at this. Let's zoom the fuck in and see where we found support. Perfectly above the fib. Do you think that's a fucking coincidence? It's not. It's not. This shows how technicals work and how Fibonacci's work and how a lot of this stuff does work. It just doesn't work every fucking time. If you expect that shit out of life, if you can find something that works every fucking time, you will be the next Warren Buffett. You will be richer than that motherfucker. He didn't even really get filthy rich until his 50s and 60s. So you'll blow him the fuck away. So if you guys figure that shit out, you let me know. But yeah, I think this looks like a great place for support. Right here. Right here. Robinhood. I'm actually getting bullish the more I'm looking at these other charts. 3.71%. That's actually not bad for Robinhood. There's so much volume sitting underneath of this. I don't hate it. I don't hate this level of volume we have right here. Maybe this is the bottom on this too. I'm starting to feel like we're seeing a lot of bottoms. And the thing I like about Robinhood, that would really tie in with that ass conversation with Tesla. Anyway, actual smart summon. Anyway, whatever. 77%. 77% from the top. So you got some room to go. All these things are looking bottomy to me. And even let's see how did we do on the 100 here? This is the weekly time frame. We closed under it for SoFi. I would have rather closed over, so that sucks. Maybe it's got some downside. It'll be interesting to see if we can recover from this and start turning this into support. It'll be very interesting to see if that's the case. I would like to do it soon. I would like to see it happen next week. I would like the next weekly candle to close up here, like around 740 or 750, right near this other 50 moving average on the weekly. And that would be a good sign, and it would still indicate that we found a bottom in SoFi. So it would be nice to see that happen. Square. I'll get caught up with chat again in a second, guys. Sorry, I know there's a lot going on. And I will stick around. My daughter's got a sleepover with some cousins. We're going to do some family shit. But I will try and be around long enough to make you guys feel the warm fuzzies before you head off for your weekend. 5.17%. So again, under peak volumes. That kind of sucks because you could still get like a big wick down in this chart. Just because of the fact that it doesn't have any good support levels underneath of it. But as you've seen, outside of 1-2 experiences, really, this thing hasn't stayed underneath these levels for very long. So you're near the bottom still. Maybe options become attractive on this. It would be great if something was fucking making money, or if I would have bought more TMF and sold more Tesla calls yesterday. But again, shoulda, coulda, woulda, that's always going to be there. It's always going to be the case. You're always going to have regrets. There's always going to be things that you can do better. There is no perfect anything in this game. There never is. You're never a perfect trader. Perfect trades don't exist. Well, I mean, I should say this. Perfect traders don't exist. People can get really close to what looks like a perfect trade and have a few of those in their life, especially if you're really good. But it's just, perfection doesn't exist in life. If I'm the first person to tell you that, your life has probably been hard. Palantir, S&P inclusion. People are looking for it. Did we hear anything? I don't think we heard anything. Can you guys say in chat? Let me know if you heard any news on Palantir. I've got a feeling it didn't happen, and then people will just dump Palantir on Monday and jump into the things that drop 10%. They'll sell Palantir and be buying Tesla on Monday right away. You'll see that definitely. If they're not included in the S&P, that's exactly what's going to happen. ARKG down 2.92% and 0.37% in after hours. Again, there's not a lot of room for this thing to drop. Going all the way back to 2017, we're at support here, guys. This is support, and I don't think we're going to drop much further. And if I find something that really does well, I'm going to spread it across some of these, like maybe a PayPal, a Hood, a Square, an ARKG. I'm going to look towards things like this. And again, maybe some more Bitcoin-related twos. But I need to have something winning. Tesla, win. Beat everything else. That way I can make some money off of you. Or PayPal. I don't give a fuck. I ain't biased. Any of you motherfuckers want to take the lead for a little bit, I would take it. Flux, down 5.36%. But again, small caps didn't take it too hard. This thing's already down so much. I do believe that... EVs across. I was thinking about this when I get my new property, when I get my mansion, my $2 million house, and I'll show you guys when I get it too. It will happen. I don't know why balloons are coming up. I must have done something. Anyway, but I was thinking about this. Like companies like this, Flux actually is like forklifts. I don't know that I have a lot of those, but maybe. But just companies that build industrial equipment, I would love electronic versions of it. I'm even looking at an electronic snowblower. I've got an electric mower, I've got an electric hedger and trimmer and everything else. It's just so much fucking easier to deal with these things. So I do think that companies like these guys have the ability to be able to have an existence and make a lot of money in the future. Small cap, only $50 million, just a baby. But again, I think they're going to do well when the small caps blow up. We'll see. How'd DLO do? Real quickly here. And then we'll get to some new stuff, and I'll try and get caught up in chat too. DLO 1.52%. That's not bad. Still bottomy. I didn't pull up the actual chart. I just looked it up real quick, so I'm not going to save this part for Flux. All right, so let me see here. So I got through most of my shit. I think we want to look at some broader pictures of a few things. Real quickly, I did this in the morning, so I'm just going to highlight it. I'm not going to go in depth. Watch the morning session for the economic data if we want to take a deeper dive. But non-farm payrolls were actually better than forecast, lower than consensus, but not a bad number. I will show you this one. So it's hard to see. It's hard to see. Let me go to 5 years maybe. It's hard to see, but like this isn't great. It's not great, but it's also not horrible. It's pretty much standard growth in the United States if COVID didn't happen. The revisions do often come later to the downside. Remember that. But again, unemployment only 4.2%. There's stuff there though that we're going to look at. Anyway, but yeah, average hourly earnings year over year 3.8% versus 3.6 and 3.7. That's good. Participation rate 0.1% better than thought. That's good. Average hourly hours per week for the month of August 34.3. That came in consensus, but was better than forecast by 0.1. That's good. Government payrolls. Hey, guess what? Democrats love big government and love paying people and giving them jobs in government. So that went up, right? The forecast was only 8, but the previous was 15, and this time it's 24. Think with all the revisions that have happened with 1 million jobs roughly that we didn't really get, and then you factor in how many jobs are government jobs, it's actually a little scary. We need to start helping the actual economy, not the government economy and fake numbers. But let's look at manufacturing. Manufacturing, again, Trump has plans basically to allow manufacturers to expense shit out, where if they start moving manufacturing back to the United States, they get massive tax breaks. That is awesome. That is awesome. Those kind of exemptions are going to be great. That will make manufacturing turn around. But manufacturing has not done well for a while. I don't think this is shocking to anybody, but manufacturing has been in the shitter for a while. And it hasn't got, I mean, again, look at 2016 through here. It's these same ranges, right? And it's been horrible. It's been horrible. But so that's not surprising. That would get better under Trump. Non-farm payrolls, private. Again, if we look at the trend on this, I said this earlier, but I so hate data points that include COVID. Wish you could just like normalize it out. But yeah, just looking over here. So the private sector did better, a lot better. And let me see what else we have that we want to talk about. I think that's it. U6 unemployment rate is just kind of being more inclusive with the unemployment rate. And I think it includes illegal immigrants too into the figure or something closer to that. Just things that aren't included in the regular one. And it's going up. And I don't think that should be surprising to anybody. We're importing, anywhere from 200 to 300,000 illegal immigrants a month. So if they're in any way being factored into unemployment, the number is going to go up. But then also we know that all the jobs are going from people that are citizens in this country. They're losing, I think 878,000 jobs were lost by them. And it's 1.4 million have went to illegal immigrants. So illegal immigrants are doing great. Their dreams are coming true. They love America right now. They're definitely going to vote Joe Biden, Tim Walz, Harris, whatever they're told to do, which is why we can't let them. Because if you're paying people for votes, it's problematic. And don't get me wrong, every politician promises votes, but literally they're paying for them. Like literally, they've already done it. Now they're like, it's time to give us your vote. But boy, they're going to hate that black vote. Anyway, that's kind of what happened today. It wasn't horrible from the economic data, which is why, again, I think a lot of this is coming from just worries about the election and front loading the potential of Trump not getting in office because people are worried that it's going to be stolen from him. And again, we already talked about revised stuff. Let me go down here. So I posted under U.S. economy, I posted, this is the great replacement theory in action. Illegal immigrants will take your jobs and already are. And this is from Charlie Kirk. He's a Republican, so people shit on him right away because obviously he's just a racist and MAGA because all Republicans are. But that's a joke. E.J. Antoni, PhD, who has a PhD, I should say, showed this, and it's great. Again, so this is showing natural-born citizens and how they've recovered after COVID in regard to employment, and it's not great at all. And then people that shouldn't be here and aren't here legally, and how they've done, which is great because, again, employers are going to bend the rules and pay people and get much lower wages, especially if everybody else is doing it and everybody knows the government doesn't care because they're letting them all in. They're going to cheat the system and they're going to go for cheap labor. And so this is causing a lot of problems. Because think about it, if you're poor and black in South Side Chicago, and this is how your economic experience has been, and yet there's actually one of these, I should show it, of a bunch of illegal immigrants, this family, and they're a beautiful looking family. They seem very joyful. But Chicago, between the city and incentives they have within this local region and the federal government, and also like a religious group, a church, they ended up doing great and getting in this beautiful remodeled house after being here 2 years. They're illegal Venezuelan immigrants. And if you think about it, that's a great experience for them. But what if you're a black person in Southside who wants to own a home or just have a better life in a safer neighborhood, and you can't get access to that shit, but somebody who came in here 2 years ago, they get a beautiful fucking house that's all like furnished and TVs and just all this stuff. And they're doing great, and you don't have that. How do you think you're going to vote? How do you think you're going to vote? Anyway, so I don't think Democrats are paying attention to that. Sorry I'm getting political, but politics are going to be such a big part of the economy and what happens after 8 weeks from now, okay? So it's just, I'm going to talk about this stuff, and then in 8 weeks, if you don't like my political positions, I probably won't be talking about them as much anymore unless they're destroying our economy, and then you can just leave and go find something else to do with your time. But this is important, though, and this is going to have ramifications, and I think it's going to change votes. It's going to create a lot of anger at the lower income cohorts with blue-collar workers that are losing their jobs to people that are coming here illegally. I think, especially if that continues, you're going to see a lot of dangerous neighborhoods and poor neighborhoods. It's going to get a lot worse, in my opinion. Why am I talking about it here? Because it has impact on our economy. Let me see. Is there other stuff? I feel like this stuff is mislabeled. Oh, no, I'm not in it. Let me go back. All right. So this, too, another reason not to have big government. Mario posted, the IRS recovers $1.3 billion from taxpayers after $80 billion expansion under the Biden administration. So they had paid $80 billion to have all these IRS agents. And remember, they were going to go after things like tips. Kamala Harris voted for that. But now they can't go after tips because they're talking about never taxing tips. And they've only recovered this small amount of money. How is that effective use of taxpayer funds? Please tell me. The IRS has reclaimed nearly $1.3 billion in unpaid taxes from high-income earners after receiving $80 billion in funding from the Inflation Reduction Act. And this costs all these companies and individuals a bunch of money going to get audited so that these guys can recover $1.3 billion. So who knows what kind of losses in the economy that creates from jobs that don't get created because these guys went through a wild audit process for the federal government to take only so much from them. And then again, if they take money away from that company or individual, what does that mean? Do they employ somebody? Did somebody get fired? There's just negative ramifications about being an anti-growth state. And that's the way we're heading. And the crackdown targeted 125,000 wealthy individuals who hadn't filed taxes since 2017. I mean, that's insane that people haven't done that. I know people who haven't filed taxes. I'm like, how the fuck is that possible? So again, these things should happen, but what are they doing? What actually is coming through for the $80 billion investment that exists here? And again, I want to say something else. Going back, I think it's 1913. I might get the year wrong. It's early 1900s. The U.S. government was mostly funded by taxes for like alcohol, cigarettes, and I can't remember if food was another part of it. Imagine that. Imagine if that was your taxes, guys. Imagine that. Imagine if that's all it was and there was no income tax. How have we gotten so fucking poorly mismanaged that we spend an $80 billion expansion to the IRS and we don't even get a lot of money back? Nearly 80% of the targeted millionaires had already made payments. Republicans have slammed the IRS expansion as reckless, but the Biden administration argues it's helping reduce the deficit by focusing enforcement on those earning. So if it's successful, where's the additional tax revenue? Where is it? Show us the numbers, guys. And if I'm wrong on this, guys, I will community note this bitch and see if I can get somebody to disagree with me, and so I can find out whether or not I'm wrong on this. But again, where's the money? Income Sharks. I love this guy. He's calm in the storm, okay? He is somebody who has been doing this a very long time, like myself, and I would argue even more emotionally disattached from what's going on than I am. He said, spend $80 billion to recover $1 billion. This is why everyone should stop paying taxes until they figure out how to stop wasting our money. I 100% fucking agree with you, Income Shark. You're a stud. Declaration of Meme. I don't know why I have so much political stuff. I don't know. Oh, yeah. Okay. It's almost like libertarians were right about free market economics. So this is Argentina. It's President Milei. Ended rent controls and cut housing regulations. The result, this is an older one. Housing supply up 212%. Rental prices are down 26%. And mortgage costs are down 30%. So this is what's happening in real time in the first year of his presidency by doing the opposite of what Kamala Harris wants to do. All right, enough politics for a minute. Let's go over here. Let's find some stuff that doesn't depress the shit out of us. Let's go to Bitcoin. The German parliament member, Joanna Kotar, said it's very important that more German parliament members understand Bitcoin. Germany selling 50,000 BTC was something very, very upsetting. Again, this is like, they'll figure this out later. But it's good that this is getting vocalized. It's good that more people in different governments around the world are realizing the value of Bitcoin. Everything is fine. Zoom out Bitcoin. This is the rainbow chart. This shows where we're at. Again, if you look over here, so like, let's say this. If you look over here, how long in this range did we stay? Near the blue-green zone. It's not a big deal. We do it all the time, guys. This isn't fucking crazy. This is normal. And again, Orwellian, Jesus, fuck, whatever. AO, let's just stick with that. Again, this chart, this is a completely normal pattern. You can see this descending triangle, how it broke down, how it went up, how we traded down in a broadening, widening wedge, and then eventually broke up and started doing really well. The timing is a little bit off, and that's okay. That happens. All these cycles are different. They just rhyme. So it's okay for the timing to be off by several months, quarters. It doesn't fucking matter. But you can see the pattern, right? You can see this over here, how we had a double top, and then we had our measured move, and then we didn't quite make the measured move and get all the way down. We bottomed. We started going up, just like over here. And then we had this broadening, widening wedge. And then you can see what comes next. You can literally see it. It's up. It's up, up, and away. So don't get lost in the noise. Don't get frightened because Caleb Franzen all of a sudden is bearish on Bitcoin. I don't know why he's bearish on Bitcoin. You never know who's going to hold conviction. I know the people that gave up on Bitcoin. I shouldn't say it. I don't see a lot of them anymore. I know the YouTubers that quit. You don't see them anymore. They're just gone. Okay, so you don't want to be the person who runs away. You have to understand it. This is the best time historically to buy Bitcoin. And it's the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. And you can see the orange parts here, like when we're in the deep fear. And when that happened over here, it was a good time to buy. And of course, wait until the bear market and start buying, right? Wait until the pandemic and buy when it's in the red. But we're like in the red. You can't see it because there's not a lot of it, but we're like in it right now, guys. So if you did that over here, you did great. If you did that over here, you did great. If you did that over here, you did great. Again, and then let's argue over here. If you just waited a year, you did great. This is an indicator over years and years of time frames, going back to the beginning of this shit. 2018 for this one. It's not that old. But you can see where it works. You can see where it works and where it pays out. And so I would just, again, zoom out. Think long distance. Why are you here? If you don't have a lot in calls, you should be fine. Tautelus. He's actually, I believe he's in Central or South America. I think he speaks Spanish. So anyway, he said the Alice indicator measures the tightening of the Bollinger Bands. So yeah, some of his spelling here is a little off, guys. It's just because it's not his primary language. He said at 1, it anticipates a violent price movement. Now in 2, it will happen too. In what direction? We can't know that, but we can be prepared when it starts. I would actually argue that we can know it. It's up. It's up because there's so many different other indicators that tell you that that's our next step. And so many other fundamental and macro things that tell us that's the next step. And so I would argue that that's the next step, and that's why I put it down here. Interesting fact on BTC monthly RSI. During a bull market, the monthly RSI moves into overbought territory above 70 and remains there for the duration of the bull run, or at least historically has. When it falls back below 70, it typically is indicative of the ending of the bull run, and it does not return. Yeah, anyway, he's got more in here. But if we look over here, we haven't even broke out really to the 70 range. We haven't. And Let me just look at it. I'm trying to look at this. See how right he is. Yeah, I don't love the analysis. I don't love it. This isn't a good way to look at it. There's not enough months to count. Sorry, guys. I didn't pre-screen that one. I just don't think it's a good metric. Vivek, Bitcoin is the 9th top monetary asset in the world. Do you guys realize that? Like, this is crazy. Is the top 6. So we're above the UK. We're above silver, Switzerland, India, Australia, Russia, Hong Kong. We're looking to creep above. We'll probably be. Well, it's going to take a while to get to Japan. 4.65 trillion. But whatever. 6th place ain't bad. We will. I think though this cycle. Nah, we might. It's going to be close. We'll probably still stay under Japan for this cycle. But next cycle, we'll pass Japan, China, the Eurozone, maybe the United States. Isn't that crazy? Next cycle, we'll probably be near gold. It's just fucking crazy. Anyway, all right, so let's get out of that. So we've done some Bitcoin noise. Let me see here. Tesla. Let's get over to Tesla. And then I'll start looking at charts, like usual. We'll see how many I do, because I might do, I already did 2 sessions. I did my early day today and yesterday, 2 looking at charts. So we'll see. I might not do a ton. So Tesla, Sasha says, and I like Sasha. I like Sasha actually better than me, Kevin. If I was going to watch anybody, it'd probably be him, even though I do like me, Kevin, but he's just like way too emotional. Elon Musk has done nothing in AI. He's referencing that Time article, kind of. He said, except being the founder and funding the biggest AI company in the world, and except using AI to make cars drive themselves, and except using AI to make rockets land themselves. But apart from that, what does Elon know about AI? Sawyer Merritt posts this. This is an article that is 4 years ago. I love it. It says the fact that the Model Y is now literally the best-selling car in the world just 4 years after this article came out makes this make even funnier. It says, hot cars, 15 reasons why the Tesla Model Y will fail. Every young company makes its mistakes sooner or later, and the flack the Model Y has been getting, it seems that for that Tesla, that moment has come. Best-selling car in the world, by far, everywhere. Everywhere. So remember this. Remember the negativity that happens, guys. It doesn't mean it's right. You won't find a lot of Tesla bears that have been around for years in Tesla Q. They die off. Like literally, some of them die. It's not a good. They struggle. Dylan Loomis. I love this guy. He's a very good dude. Much respect for him, especially his emotions and the way he conveys himself. It's very thoughtful. It's very like he's not like me. Doesn't just trip over himself with emotion. But he said Volvo backs off all EV. So let's read this down here. Finance said Tesla might finally be facing competition from powerful rivals. Powerful. This is in September 19th, 2015. So look at all this stuff that's happened here recently. Volvo backs off all EV goal by 2030. Toyota cuts 2026 EV output by 1/3. GM cuts EV production by 50,000 in North America. That's a huge number. Ford cuts EV spending and cancels some EVs. Honda and GM cancel plans to co-develop EVs. Mercedes cancels goal of all EVs by 2030. BMW cancels battery contract and announces hydrogen projects. That's fucking stupid. They're dead. And then it says, but wait, I thought making compelling EVs was easy and that all of Tesla's competition would quickly do better than Tesla. Turns out 9 years isn't enough for these powerful rivals. And I would argue this. I think you should have added to that comment, Dylan. You missed the last part, bro. And that is, not only is it not easy for them, but they are stepping away and letting Tesla win it all. All of it. Just Tesla. That's all it's going to be. These guys gave up. It's all over. There's no way they can catch up now. You have to scale to catch up, and they're not even going to try anymore. Dalton says Tesla's selling Cybertrucks like hotcakes. I love the asymmetry here. I love it. I love it. So beautiful. And I just got to look here. So this is originally a post off of Tesla Cybertruck, and just look at this. Like, I just think this is so cool. Just looking at, I love, people hate the angles, but there's a beauty to this. There's a beauty to it. All right. The son of the walkie said, Elon Musk says, yep, to your robo-taxi has arrived. The next 12 months will be insane. I agree. My contracts go out a little less than 2 years for a 330 strike. And I think that's so easily achieved. And I'm going to make so much money off of it. I'm not worried. Because again, Elon, it is so good right now, guys. And I can't wait. I don't even have the latest version. I watched it on video, but I can't wait to have it. It's going to be huge. Breaking, Donald Trump to announce 15% corporate tax rate, but only for companies making their products in the USA. Tesla. Whoop, whoop. This is a big deal, guys. This is, again, incentivizing people to come back here is a big deal. It's going to help out a lot. Actually, arguably, it might help us with our illegal immigrant issue. It might be too hard to deport all of them, and it might not make sense to deport all of them. So if you're bringing jobs back to the United States, you can fill the gaps with the illegal immigrants that are here. Instead of constricting the economy, you can give them jobs because you're moving business back here. And then it's strengthening the U.S. at the same time, creating like maybe another industrial manufacturing revolution while creating a technological one. Fuck yeah, let's do that. Let's do that right there. And then Tesla gets to benefit because everything is made in the USA, baby. Everything. I mean, almost everything. They get some of their batteries overseas, but enough to matter. And they can just do that other stuff here. Again, let's get rare earth elements. Let's do it all. Tesla's already refining its own lithium. Let's just fucking close the loop. Let's close the loop. Sawyer Merritt says 26 newly built Tesla semis next to Giga, Nevada. This is expanding. Another area of the business. Okay. Elon Musk, I've never been materially active in politics. We already saw that one yesterday, so we're good here too. All right, let me go over. I think, I don't know if there's much more to talk about there. There was probably something with PayPal. Let me just go in here. Crossroads did a write-up here. Alex Chris today just said this. I think it's today. Oh, sorry, yesterday. We're ushering in a new era for customers, making it easier and more rewarding than ever to shop and pay with PayPal anywhere, anytime, both in stores and online. PayPal is a go-to payment option for hundreds of millions of customers, online purchases, and now we're expanding in store so our customers can have richer and more rewarding experiences everywhere they shop. This is a pivotal moment for PayPal and our customers and significant step as we bring the power of PayPal to everywhere they shop. Let's go. I love the fact that Alex fucking Chris is the person using it at the store so that he knows it works. This is what sets Alex apart, okay, from other CEOs. He is first principles, Elon Musk type motherfucker. I can't call him Elon Musk because nobody's Elon Musk, but but again, he wants to know the customer experience. He wants to know everything. He ends silos. He did that like in his first quarter. He ended data silos within the company, and he's just consolidating stacks of existing products, and that's great. You don't want Venmo and PayPal options. You want to like link things together. You need to make it to where you streamline your business, and he's so good at that, and he's going to give a great experience. And so I'm still very excited about PayPal, and Ace is driving an omni-channel approach is what Crossroads said. He said a bunch of other stuff too. Check out the post. I 100% agree with everything that he said. It's a great opportunity. And let me see. I might, guys, if you did something earlier, I'm going to start a little bit at chat here, but then I'm going to starter pack from Ligola 87. Thank you very much for joining too, if I didn't say that already. Let me get further down here. All right, so it looks like I'm not too far out of the whack with chat here. If you did throw out a stock request, throw it out again. I might not do all of them. BD said, good lesson on price action. I'm watching 120M into the future on MTV. 120M into the future on MTV, the music television? What the fuck are we talking about, PD? Patrick Reddy. September is historically shitty. It is, usually in the latter part of the month, but did they fuck us and do it in the first part? Makes sense. Sealess. Tech is down now 7% since NVIDIA earnings last week. The dip is the second in 5 weeks. Probably time to run again soon. I could see people locking in bonds, or I should say this. I could see people taking money market funds soon and looking to buy the dip. You're going to get to a point where they're going to get excited. Because again, let's stop on this thought. This is a really big thought, guys. Let's think about the $6+ trillion that is sitting in money market funds right now. If you got all this money sitting on the sidelines, you've been getting 4 or 5%, pretty good. You've been making money this whole time for like over a year and a half. That's been your play, right? So you have two choices right now. One, assume the worst, that the world is coming to an end. If you think the world's going to come to an end, you're probably going to figure that out after the election. You're probably giving us 8 weeks for the world to come to an end before you at least know if we're headed that way or if we're going to be bouncing higher because we're pro-growth. Again, very different stances politically or policy-wise on agendas between the Democrats and the Republicans. And I think if you look at it objectively, you can realize that. So you're going to be sitting there going, okay, if Trump wins, what am I going to do with all my money market funds? These are short dated. I know rates are coming down. I can either lock it in on those, but I know historically people like Warren Buffett would tell me to buy stocks, to buy American made, especially if Donald Trump is the president and he's pulling everybody back with tax deductions and incentives and expense deductions that help drive America first approach and give jobs to all of these immigrants that are here. I think that's what Trump should do as a stance too. I think he should say we're going to weed out all the bad people that are here illegally and we're going to make them go away. And then we're going to have a pro-growth strategy in America. And so some of the ones that are here, we're going to try, if you're good, hardworking, we're going to try and find an opportunity to help you stay here. But if you're not, you're going to go away. That might be the approach that he ends up having to take, and maybe he should signal some of that now because, again, if we're pulling a bunch of manufacturing in here, Vivek, somebody talk to this man and tell him that if we're pulling a lot of manufacturing in here, we might actually still need a lot of the people, especially the good family types that have come here, to stay here while we lock down the border and start up a nice, healthy legal immigration program that brings in people from all over the country to fill different jobs where we really need them filled, especially in higher end tech. So if you think that's happening, if you think that kind of thing is going to happen under Trump, you're going to buy stock. Why wouldn't you? $6.4 trillion. You're not going to collect ever lowering amounts of returns on that. You're going to start dialing into stocks if you think that the economy is going to recover and you think we're going pro-growth. But if you think we're not, you're going to dial into bonds. And maybe that's the hedge, guys. Maybe that's the hedge. Now that I say this. See, isn't this great? This is what's great. Sometimes shit just comes to mind. Maybe that's the hedge. Maybe the bond market is the hedge because if you think, I don't know, is it though? It's hard to know because here's the thing. If you think that Kamala Harris is going to destroy the economy because she's going to just overburden it, you do think she's going to print a lot. You think she's going to print a lot, but you're going to think, I would imagine, that the rest of the world is going to figure out that it's unsustainable and that we have no path. We've got bigger government. We're only expanding. Our debt loads are getting bigger. There's more people coming here every month. We're going to crush our economy, right? So maybe the bond market wouldn't be good. No, it's not. I changed my mind. I don't think stocks or bonds would be good. So I think what we need to do, guys, what we need to do if we're going to develop a hedge between now and the election is we need to figure out who gets fucked the most. That's what we'll have to talk about. Who gets fucked the most from it? If we can figure that out by who gets fucked the most if Kamala Harris becomes president, then we're going to make a lot of money. All right, let me get down here. If you're stressed, you're overinvested. True admit. Main stage news, CleanSpark BTC. Let me see. CleanSpark MicroStrategy BTC all down about 5%. If the market is expected much worse from here, I'd expect proxies to be down much more. Yeah, they're at the bottom. They're nearing a bottom. I strongly believe that with like 90% probability. I strongly believe we're nearing a bottom. And by nearing a bottom, I mean maybe another 5% down on Bitcoin. Silas, you may also be stressed because you're new to the game. Yes, exactly. Just uneducated and don't know who to listen to. And there's so many conflicting voices. It's confusing. Especially when people are right for different periods of time. So it's really confusing. Alternatively, you're not made for the day-to-day game. Yes, exactly. You need to control your emotions and reactions or use funds. And I don't even like the day-to-day game. All I do is I rebalance swing trades over long periods of time on high conviction bets that I believe in. It's literally it. And there's a few outside of that exception, but that's basically it. September is historically shitty. Yep. Oh, I already covered that comment. Andy Zhao, BTC below 53,000 now. Will keep buying more. Cool. Yeah. Jane Street can't stop me. Nice. Justin, today is one of these days where you just close your eyes at DCA. Exactly. That's exactly right. BD, Jesse, if you like electronic gizmo stocks, IoT. Okay. Pursuit of code. What is a bloody day for the What a bloody day for the portfolio. True. Can't keep buying the dip on these miners. Lol. Yeah. I don't think they're going much further, but you're right. Eventually, you run out of money if you buy dips. That does happen. And hopefully, if you're good at it, you do it near the bottom. And that's where you devoted a lot of your capital. Disease Kodak. Oh, Jesse, I just remembered what books or YouTubers would you recommend for wanting to get better at trading in TA and economics? For me, man, I think you start with the base. You have to understand money. You need to read or listen to the Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean Ammous. If you don't understand money, I can't help you with the next stage. So understand money first. And then after that, I think you need to figure out how to understand the value of companies. I don't hate the way that Jeremy does that, Jeremy Lafarve. I think Jeremy's pretty good at kind of helping people understand valuations. He's not great all the time at stock picking. But he's great at that. So you could kind of learn maybe how to value things from there. Or me. Again, I think I'm fucking great. Without being too arrogant. All right. Disease Kodak. Oh, Jesse, I just remembered. Oh, no, that was you. Andrew, is the influx of immigrants good from a deflationary? No, it's bad. I mean, it's good. Oh, it sucks. It's both, Andrew. So is it good from a deflationary standpoint, or does it create inflation? Like, what does it do? You said, and thus making us all wealthier. One would think that's a first stage impact, right? So, yes, it does help bring things down. Why is it doing that, though? It's taking jobs from other people that were making jobs. Those people that had jobs were probably insured under the jobs. They lose their job. Then the government has to pay unemployment insurance for them, or they're working, filling other jobs and like driving and other stuff. Maybe they're buffering the unemployment number because they're working DoorDash. Or doing other shit to survive, right? And they never actually filed unemployment insurance because they've never done it, don't know they can, whatever. It doesn't really matter. But maybe they help that number a little bit. And then wages are dropping, right? You got competition, so we don't have price pressures on companies. Companies aren't having to worry about all the bullshit they had to worry about during the pandemic, where some asshole fucking kid who sucks at their job, who doesn't want to be there, they're having to pay them like $13 an hour, and they're just happy when they show up a couple days a week, and they might have to give them a raise to be able to maintain them because they actually do something, and they can't find anybody else to work there. So you have this problem where jobs were just a fucking mess during the pandemic, and they were having to pay people a lot more, and so you were seeing wage inflation, which helped offset the inflation in goods for the people who got the benefits of the wage inflation. And the people who got the most benefits, I don't know, they were probably at the lower income cohort, so they benefited a little bit. But then so many things, you got all these problems you create because as time goes on, let's say 4 years, we've had 10 million illegal immigrants. Let's just say 10. Let's keep it low. You have to figure out how to house these people. You have to figure out, you're giving them Social Security in the future if you're going to make them a legal citizen. You're giving them Medicare. You're giving them Medicaid. You're giving them actually physically money right now. They give them a card where they can pay their bills and kind of maintain and eat and do other stuff too. And you're doing that for all these millions of people behind the scenes, and the federal government's having to pay for all of it. And these people are competing against all of these other people that have been here and that had jobs. And so now those people are losing their jobs, but they're getting the job. They're making less income. So they're still illegal immigrants. So, I mean, what are they paying in their taxes? I don't even know how any of this shit is working right now, honestly. It depends on the state, probably. But I don't know how much of an actual tax revenue you're getting from any of this stuff that's happening. And then it's maybe benefiting the companies a little bit so that they can maintain margins for a while. But is it making us rich? No, because then you have 10 million, potentially after another 4 years, maybe it's 20 to 30 million illegal immigrants that have come into the country. And even Gavin, if you guys don't know this, Gavin Newsom, that $150,000 home loan thing for California, he vetoed that shit today because he had to, because he was getting so much backlash because people are like, you will destroy this fucking state. don't do this or we're fucking leaving. All these business people, all these rich people said, we will leave this fucking state if you implement this kind of shit. So even he couldn't do that kind of stuff. But you have all these problems with giving away free money and that being a drag against a government that's trying to grow in size too and is already heavily indebted. So it would be, it will destroy us. You can't have 250,000 more mouths to feed. To insure, to provide medical, all these, you can't have this, man. You can't have this in a society untethered. You will destroy it. So no, it's not really good. It kind of looks like it is if you just take a cursory glance, but it's also over the long term destructive. It will destroy you when combined with all the other problems we have in this country right now. The 130% debt to GDP is enough. Elmos Racing, minor dip purchasing has been a long route. It has. It's been 6 months. It's only half a year of your life, bro. Sealess. They also maybe overestimated the percentage of Venezuelans who vote Democratic. They could be. I listened to an illegal immigrant in New York City who said that they were telling him he would be able to vote, who said that he was going to vote for Trump because he didn't like the way that that the lawlessness and all the craziness that Kamala would bring. It's fucking insane. This guy's an illegal immigrant who's like, I'm still probably going to vote for Trump. And the person's like, you could be deported, right? And he's like, it's worth the risk. I don't want to live here otherwise. And I watched a Venezuelan lady literally cry and say that she would go back to Venezuela if she could find a way. So, yeah, you got to remember, in New York City, they're going to dump 40,000 illegal immigrants onto the fucking streets in the next couple of weeks. They processed 200,000 illegal immigrants in the last several years under the Biden administration, and they've only given jobs directly in the state or the city of New York City to 2,000 people have found jobs. So 1% of the people that have been processed through the system, and now this next week or two, I can't remember exactly when it is. It might be happening now. They're dropping 42,000 illegal immigrants out of the existing system so that they can put more in and so that they can lower some of their costs in the meantime for all these hotels they've been renting. And they still have over 1,000 a week coming in. So there's going to be 4,000 in a month that are going to come in. So this only buys them like another year plus of just trying to manage some of this chaos at the existing rates if they don't increase. So it's untenable. We can't survive this way. We can't survive this way. The mayor of New York City, who said, we're a sanctuary city. Come here. We got you. It's all good. Literally has said, I don't see a way out of this. I don't know how this ends. So this will be impactful to our portfolios. We do need to figure out the right hedge and apply some capital. Hopefully something where we can get a 7 or a 10 to 1. Should probably start figuring that out soon. Sealess. We already had that one. BD, what high income earners get tips, Jesse? None. Sealess. Once newcomers can start up their own business, they'll defend them more fiercely. Yes. Sure. Darren, so much pain. Yep. Oh, shit. My thing just moved on me. What's going on? Did Palantir get in? Oh, it got in? S&P inclusion? No shit. All right, let me get over here. Palantir. Congrats, guys. Congrats. Yeah, 7.8%. So it is up. Where is it at? Let me see here. Let me get it under, I got to do a shorter time frame so I can get the right. Oh, yeah. Okay, so just towards the previous recent local high, the 52-week high. Nice. That's fucking cool. Congrats, guys. At least somebody's winning today. Congrats to everybody who has Palantir. All right. I'm trying to get caught up. I'm going to probably jump down through a few. I'm going to miss a few comments here. And I might not even do stock ticker symbols today, guys. I'm kind of spent from really applying myself a lot more over this last week. And I got to do the mining video over the weekend. And then I want to do like a before the markets on, maybe Sunday video. And other political videos. So I think I might, I'm just going to look through here and see what else we got, if there's anything else we want to talk about. We can work with Mexico and mutual manufacturing, but they should not take it for granted. Their southern border is much. They'll have to stop shipping people here. They'll have to do everything we want because we can get a lot of people. There's a lot of people that were building plants or getting ready to build plants in Mexico that might change their mind if Trump gets into office. So that could get really interesting. So they'll have to buddy up with us too. Everybody will. C-list, tech is still next. Tech is a broad category. Tech is still the next tech. I agree. Disease Kodak, Solana chart, and thoughts. I think I'm going to save some of this stuff. Maybe I'll do one over the weekend, guys, where I'll do... I'll give you that. I'll do something probably tomorrow, maybe earlier in the morning or midday, and I will look at charts and other stocks for you guys. And then I'll also work on getting that Bitcoin video out over the weekend, and then getting here's Monday, what do I think? What's happened over the weekend? And maybe a political video. That's what I promise you for this weekend. I do think, though, I'm a little spent. I want to go spend some time with my family. So I'm going to do that. So we'll pick this up next time. And otherwise, I'd say buy the fucking dip. But does anybody have any money left? Or you got money in your money markets? Luckily, I know plenty of people that do have money to buy the dip. So I think that's going to happen. I'm going to go out this way, though. I'm going to go out with this reality from Tip NZ talking about Bitcoin and what it can do for the future of humanity. And if you look at this and you think it's just like, oh, whatever, that's not real, you need to understand Bitcoin better, because this is the kind of stuff we need to do. We need to stop being short-sighted on what we're doing. We need to figure out how to create growth. We need to figure out how to make America great, how to make the world great, how to automate, how to make it to where everybody has more abundance. Because if they have that, they're less likely not to fucking murder each other. And that's the world we need to get to. We need to end these wars, and we need to make sure that we don't have one with China, and we need to embrace Bitcoin because it can turn us into this again. Peace. See you guys tomorrow.
With time, a seed becomes a tree, sheltering us. With time, a skill becomes a talent, empowering us. With time, a technology becomes a tool, enhancing us. By nature, time gives value to almost everything, yet the very thing our society gives value to, our money, loses value over time. This paradox warps our reality by defying the laws of nature, and it stems from the belief that $1 today is worth more than $1 tomorrow. Meaning money must always lose value. We built our reality off of this model. Time value of money, we call it, but in reality, this is just dogma. Since we can keep making more of it, we end up destroying our own purchasing power. So we put it in stocks, put it in bonds, put it in land, put it in funds, put it in crypto, put it in gold. But we are not oracles, so what do we know? We know that it's hard to get by. We know some people may never retire. Is time value of money a license that discounts the monetary value of our time? If time is money, how are they moving in different directions? We're working longer for less. We end up just giving away our freedom. Give up liberty for policies, give up our agency to the authorities. Because when our foundation is built on complexity, we simplify humans by giving up our humanity. Reality check, we've strayed too far from the truth. The world economy's a wreck when 1 + 1 no longer equals to 2. And if life's created from the truth, along the way something got screwed, and we let our own dogma subjectify value. We divorce action from consequence. We defy the law of physics when we make scarcity infinite. We disregard the language of mathematics. So our systems are built in a fallacy. Our society's based in a fantasy. In the absence of truth, we're living in the shadows of our own reality. And that's the root problem. Man-made rules can be broken. As our trust crumbles, so does the progress of our civilization. But one thing remains constant: no one can cheat nature. So why not use it to architect a stronger base layer? The most beautiful buildings engineered based on these consequences. Natural law drives rigor needed to build something enduring, uncompromising on principles that accounts for the flaws. Because when our lives are at stake, the gravity of truth cannot be ignored. So if our monetary systems were designed like structures, it would embody energy and matter so the money itself matters. An unbreakable limit enforced by costliness of creation ensures the structure holds value for many generations. A rule-based system governed by maths builds a transparent ecosystem that can self-error correct. with no one in charge. No words are taken as fact. Only work from computation can actualize truth of timestamps, and like water flowing off a cliff. Down the path of gravity, computational energy makes time flow one way only. It is this irreversibility which gives value to our money by upholding consensus and scarcity to create one shared reality. Now the map is the territory. Now we're working with high fidelity. Now money is truthfully time and energy bound by finality. Now we have the ability to manifest each of our dreams and build a world that is much more reflective of all of our needs. And that's the purpose of money, merely a tool to shape our reality, merely a function to harness and express individuality, just a way to live freely, just a means for possibility. Because when we build on integrity, we enhance the beauty of humanity. The most beautiful societies are built from diversity of our thoughts that come to life when we're empowered individually. Because when our money tomorrow is worth more than today, we shift from predicting to creating the future ourselves. And when our money grows in value, we grow thoughtful in how we use it. Natural law drives rigor needed to fund something enduring, something truly worth it, something that pushes the sky's limit, something only possible when our real value and consequence exist in boundless virtual dimensions. Imagine potential creations, fueled by monetary life force, lasting for many generations. We will venture into new territories and unleash these possibilities once we learn to embrace the truth of our reality.